everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're talking about the recently completed drama, Gangnam B-side, the latest K-drama on Disney Plus starring Ji Chang-wook, Bibi, and Jo Woo-jin. It promises a gritty crime thriller set in the heart of Gangnam. But before we dive into the details, just a quick note. All of this is my personal perspective. Everyone experiences shows differently, so if you loved it, that's great. No offense meant. This is simply how I felt. Let's get into it. First up, the story. Gangnam B-side revolves around a former detective, Yoon Gil-ho, as he delves into a dark underworld to solve mysterious abductions. Sounds intriguing, right? But honestly, the plot felt pretty predictable. From the very first episode, I found myself guessing what would happen next, which is never a good sign in a thriller. It sticks to familiar crime drama tropes, corrupt elites, underworld dealings, and the quest for vengeance, without offering much new. The themes themselves are interesting, especially the exploration of Gangnam's dark side, but the execution didn't break any new ground. While the central premise could have led to something groundbreaking, the series plays it safe, relying too much on cliches. The story unfolds in a way that feels almost like a checklist of familiar plot points. For example, the corrupt figures are easy to identify, and the inevitable betrayals follow a very standard pattern. It doesn't quite have that wow factor that keeps you guessing. Moving on to the acting, which is definitely one of the show's stronger points. Ji Chang-wook's portrayal of Gil-ho is solid. He brings intensity and depth to the role. But here's the thing. I felt like his character was somewhat underutilized. I wanted more of him, more backstory, more development. He's great in action scenes, but as a lead, I expected more exploration of his motivations and past. His role felt somewhat limited, and that's a bit disappointing given his potential. Bibi, however, really stands out. Her performance adds a lot to the series, and I found her character engaging. Jo Woo-jin also does a fine job as the detective Kang Dong-woo, though his role feels more like a supporting piece than a fully developed character. It's not that the acting is bad, it's the characters themselves that could have been fleshed out more. They all deliver solid performances, but I wanted a little more from the script in terms of character depth. Now let's talk about the action. As expected, Ji Chang-wook delivers some intense fight scenes, and the choreography is spot on. But while the action is definitely thrilling, it doesn't fully compensate for the lack of narrative tension. In a show like this, where suspense should be king, I felt like the stakes weren't high enough to keep me hooked. The action scenes, while well executed, didn't create the emotional investment I was hoping for. The tension feels a bit forced, and the overall pacing doesn't build up to those oh my gosh moments. The action isn't bad, it just feels like a checklist of cool fight scenes without a deeper sense of urgency. For a crime thriller, that's a missed opportunity. The plot could have used a bit more unpredictability to complement the action and give the show the edge it needed. On a more positive note, I really liked how the show highlights the darker side of Gangnam, a district known for its wealth and glitzy image. The exploration of crime and corruption within this context adds an interesting layer to the show. It makes you think about the dual nature of places like Gangnam, shiny on the outside, but with plenty of dirt underneath. This part of the series did keep me engaged, and offered some insight into how the city can be both glamorous and gritty. So, should you watch Gangnam B-side? Well, if you're a fan of Ji Chang-wook or enjoy action-packed crime dramas, you might find it entertaining. However, if you're looking for something fresh or groundbreaking, you might feel a bit let down. The story is decent, but it's not as gripping as it could be. It plays it too safe with its predictability, and while the action scenes are exciting, they aren't enough to carry the plot. The characters are solid, but I wanted more from them, especially Ji Chang-wook's character. All in all, Gangnam B-side is a good show, but not a great one. If you go in with tempered expectations and enjoy the action and performances, you'll have a decent time. But don't expect the story to blow your mind. Again, this is just my take on it. If you loved Gangnam B-side, that's awesome. I respect that. But this is simply how I experienced it. Comment down your thoughts below.